All right, friends, it's T-Man, and I'm back again with another video on you-know-who, JasonBlaha, their favorite YouTuber, man, influencer, JasonBlaha, strength and fitness, the gym, lifting, recruiting, lifting slave himself. Let's see what he has to say today. JasonBlaha says the old food pyramid is better than people give it credit for. The food pyramid is man-made. It's fake. It's a behavior. It doesn't exist in nature. It's man-made. It's made up. Therefore, it's fake. It can't be found in nature. Okay, dude.
Hey everybody, I want to chat with you guys a little bit today about something I see added a lot on social media, and I see a lot of people in the fitness.
You know, the number one thing I love about this is that a slave is trying to convince you that which here's the thing. A slave who's been brainwashed and conditioned a certain way is going to try to brainwash and condition you into believing that the slave diet is the best diet, the slave pyramid diet.
World or in various diet groups who discuss these things.
You just gotta love this, man.
Make memes,
and then he's gonna knock everything that is actually natural as being no good. That's typical slave behavior.
Posts about blaming the food pyramid for obesity and disease, and what people need to understand.
Yeah, it is to blame for all of it. Want to know why? Because that's the conditioning part, to condition you to eat an artificial diet based on marketing, not based on health, not based on your natural diet. It's based on marketing. It's based on money.
And even what's been adjusted to now, my plate, is not even that far from the food pyramid. And the issue with it is that this is all based on...
Wow, he's so small. His arms are so tiny. This is just a waste of time, man. He's becoming more and more sarcopenic as the days go by. He's getting skinnier and more frail all the time. Yeah, I don't know. This is really weird.
On the data, what we know, how the human body works. So this whole idea that the food pyramid was somehow bad, when the only thing that's really changed...
The food pyramid is made up by man. Of course it's bad.
And the best recommendations is, maybe a bit more vegetables, right?
Vegetables, they don't exist. What are you talking about?
Literally, that's all that's changed. So when people start blaming the food pyramid, they're like, "Oh, so you."
It is to blame. It's man-made. Man doesn't know anything. They make up stuff because they don't know nothing. And then when they do discover something, they build on those discoveries, one discovery after the other, and then it's passed down to the other slaves. The knowledge of what they've already gained in discoveries passed down to other slaves, like making a cell phone or something like that. Whatever.
Eating tons of refined carbohydrates and sugar on the food pyramid.
But you see, those things have to work properly, so they can't make up fake stuff. But the fitness industry is made to enslave you. When you want to enslave somebody, when you want to slave somebody to something, you have to. You can't make it successful. Otherwise, they won't be slaved. You understand me? In other words, you going to your job, it's the meaning of no success. The job that you're going to means no success. It means to be unsuccessful all the time. That's the whole point. They're not going to teach you how to be successful, because if they do, then you wouldn't work. They need you to be a slave. They need to slave you. You understand me? Don't make any sense. Hello. So you're slave to these minimum wages. You're slave to the minimum wage, to your 9-to-5 job. You're a slave to a job. There's job, and then there's making money. Some people say, well, how do you make money? Go make money. If you want to make money, then make money. If you want a job, then go to work. Go to work. But you're not going to make money going to work. You're not going to get rich working. It's the opposite of success. What are you talking about? Like the fitness industry, going to the gym, being a lifting slave. Everything that they're telling you is to slave you there. It's based on profits. It's based on no success. It's based on making money. It's marketing.
And when people say that, they've clearly never looked at the food pyramid.
Ask yourself this question: why do you need bread and pasta? And why do you need these fruits and vegetables? Do you need them if you're eating a meat? If you're eating a meat diet, like beef diet, especially beef, a very rare beef diet, Do you need any of that? If you're eating like animal products, like eggs, beef, whatever, these wild animals, whatever, herbivore animals preferably, not any carnivore animals. Do you need any bananas? Do you need like these fruits and vegetables? Do you need any of these man-made, engineered, concocted things? Do you need any of them? Will you die if you don't eat them? I know you've been convinced they're healthy. They told you it's healthy, right? Or in your head, you think if you don't eat them, you'll die without them. No, if you eat plants, you'll die without meat. But you won't die eating meat. But you'll die if you eat a plant-based diet like the vegan compilation. They're all dying. That's why they're dying, because you can't live without meat. But if you eat a plant diet without meat, you'll die. That's what'll happen to you.
Okay, because it's always the base was starches, right? Starches were the base.
He's listening to my videos. Starches, yeah, starch. It doesn't spike insulin. I haven't found it made me fat, but it can definitely wash you out. It's an energy source. It'll convert to glycogen.
The basis of it, and that's generally going to be, grains, tubers, things like that. Root vegetables, grains, stuff.
Grains and tubers, not particularly potatoes, rice, and sweet potatoes. Anything starchy. I don't know about any grains or anything like that. They're all garbage. That's disgusting, dude.
Like that.
We're not horses.
That is starches. And the data showing that these things don't cause body fat and they're not correlated with body fat gains or obesity is actually pretty good around the world.
Yeah, you can still get fat. You'll be washed out. You can get fat eating complex carbohydrates. What's he talking about? Eating starch can make you fat too.
So therein lay the problem, is that people are interpreting that starch
But it'll also grow you sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, fake muscles, these artificial muscles. Yeah.
base to include tons of refined sugars, which is a strange jump because it means they never actually looked at the pyramid.
Any carbohydrate without the complex at the end of it is useless. It'll give you metabolic diseases and everything else. That's what Blaha is eating. Tofu is a carb. It's not complex. Neither is pasta. It's not complex. Converts to sugar. The sugar that he has, I don't know, these beans that he's eating and a bunch of other weird stuff in his thing there. I don't know, the mustard, the hot dogs and the beans and I don't know, the rice and whatever else he has there. There's just so many weird foods he eats. I don't know.
And you would expect that. We see that with diet zealots, people who hold these extreme views on diet, whether it's some carnivore or like a keto zealot. And I'm not saying
Keto zealot, a carnivore? You mean you being a person on their natural diet? I don't call myself carnivore. I don't know what that means. I just eat my natural diet. If you want to label it, with a name. Okay, that's nice. I don't know.
keto diets can't have their place, by the way.
There's no such thing as keto diet. There's just your natural diet. That's all. There's just your natural diet. What is your natural diet, Blaha? Do you know what that is? What is a human's natural diet? Blaha doesn't know what a human eats. He doesn't know what humans eat. You understand me? He doesn't know what their natural diet is. So he has to make it up because he's been conditioned, because his parents have been feeding him a slave diet. So he thinks in his mind, he has a belief, listen to the word belief, that what he's eating is his natural diet. What I find at Walmart must be natural. It's in Walmart, so it must be natural.
There's a difference between being a zealot about it and just saying,
Right? It's in the market, right? These hot dogs and mustard and this coffee, smashed beans, tofu and all this weird other processed stuff that he's eating, and these fruits and vegetables. It must be natural, right? Because they're found in Walmart.
yeah, they can be a useful tool. There's a big difference between that. But when you identify as a keto person, you're not taking it to the point of a religion.
I want to tell you something. You are what you eat, Blaha. You become that what you think about all day, and you become that what you eat. You become that. And you've become an 80-year-old man. Unfortunately for you, sarcopenia has set in, and you are 80 years old. And I'm sure when you walk down the street, everybody sees you that way as an 80-year-old man, especially if you walk around like that in those booty shorts. They definitely gonna know you're 80 years old. With that pumpkin, the head there, the pumpkin. Yeah.
and zealotry. And pretty much any extreme diet. You know, these people are not basing things on reality and facts. They really aren't. So when you look at the food pyramid, when they're saying that, you know that they're full of it. They've clearly not read it.
Yeah, I don't need to read it. I go off my own experiences. My natural instincts tell me what I need to eat and how I need to survive. I guess he stopped listening to his instincts, but okay.
Okay, because the next tier up then on it is then fruits and vegetables, right? Then it's
Which don't exist. Fruits and vegetables don't exist. Only at Walmart.
protein sources, mostly animal protein sources, is the
Well, yeah, animal protein sources, they exist, yes.
next tier up, right? And that's where you see all your meat, your fish. Some legumes and beans get put into there, right? Nuts get thrown into that category too.
You shouldn't be eating any beans or legumes and seeds, any kind of seeds or beans. They're meant to be in the ground, planted and growing. That's what they're for. You shouldn't be eating any of those things. They're toxic when you bite them. Hello.
Notice that anything that has a lot of fat in it is thrown into that tier up. Most of your best protein sources. And here's the only real exception any of us should have with any of this so far. Certain people who need to get really lean, like if you're chasing serious body composition goals, yeah, some of those lean proteins you may want those to be a much larger percentage of your diet. But for people who are not attempting to do that, they're not chasing serious body composition goals. If you're just trying to be healthy, there's no need to do that. Now, I don't eat that.
Okay, if you say so, Blaha.
Way, obviously, because I eat a lot more protein. I'm working on body composition, working on getting leaner.
He's eating a lot more protein. Somebody forgot to tell him there's no protein in plants. That's why he's losing mass. In his mind, somebody told him somewhere over the ocean, they said, hey, these plants, they have protein in them. And in fact, plants don't have protein. They're made of sugar. They're made of cellulose and sugar and toxins and water. There isn't any protein in there. Yeah. And there's some amino acids, but they're not for human consumption. And they're incomplete anyways in the plant. They don't work in humans. There's no protein in plants. If there was, then there wouldn't be a vegan compilation, people falling apart. Their hair wouldn't be falling out and their pee-pee and nails and everything else and losing energy. Yeah, dude, if there was protein in plants, get it? Because here's the thing. If I put you on plants, you will die. You understand me? You will die without meat. But if you eat meat, you will not die. You will survive. You will live. Yeah.
Says all these things, so protein takes a much larger role in my own diet. So it is probably down there with the starches. Like I would probably put them side by side. For me personally, or people with those extreme goals. But the food pyramid was not written for bodybuilders. The food pyramid was not written for weight class powerlifters, right?
Well, it's not written. It's not written for Wait, it doesn't matter. It's they tell you what builds muscle in bodybuilding. Protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown. They talk about nitrogen balance being anabolic. Yeah.
People who objectively need to be very lean with as much muscle as they can fit in at any given body weight.
That actually makes you lean being in an anabolic growth state because you're more anabolic than androgenic, right? They say anabolic. They didn't say androgenic. They say when you're in a positive nitrogen balance now, protein, right? Eating protein, you're in a positive nitrogen balance when you're eating protein. It says you are anabolic. It does not say androgenic. It says anabolic. What do we know that bodybuilders usually take? They take steroids. What do they usually take as cutting drugs? Anabolics. So they usually inject higher anabolics than they do androgenics, right? There are androgenic anabolics. Some are more androgenic and some are more anabolic. And I'm not saying that you're not androgenic. I'm saying that is associated with being anabolic. Now, when the catabolic hormone, the hormone itself, when it is shut off, when nitrogen balance is positive, then it's suppressed the catabolic hormone. It has converted the catabolic hormone to an androgen. See that? So it doesn't have to compete with the myocytic androgen receptor. So now you're more androgenic, but you're also anabolic because when nitrogen balance is positive, eating protein, It makes you anabolic. Get it, dude?
Okay? That's not who it's.
So you providing you're not eating a fake artificial diet called carbohydrate, sugar, drug addict diet, okay? So you'll be anabolic. So you'll actually get leaner and build muscle at the same time if you do that properly.
For the average person who just wants to be a healthy. For the average person who just, for men.
And you can do that in an anabolic. And here's another thing. And you can do that in an adapted state. So if you're adapted and nitrogen balance is positive, making you in an anabolic state, making you anabolic, you can actually lose fat. So the more protein you take in, the more positive the nitrogen balance is, the more anabolic you are, the more you are going to lose body fat. Yeah, people used to ask me, how could you eat so much and not get fat? Because I'm eating meat. I'm eating a lot at the buffet. I'm eating meat. I'm not eating any carbs. And so I'm anabolic. So I'm going to get leaner.
That's about 15% body fat. Women, about 25. And it's perfectly acceptable for that. You have no trouble following the guidelines that are there and getting to those goals easily.
Especially if you're not eating a lot of, like, let's say animal fat. If you're not introducing a lot of animal fat, you definitely, well, yeah, maybe if you, yeah, well, I don't know. That's all relative. If you are still eating animal fat, that too will drive, it's an energy source. You will drive more of this energy out of the triglyceride. It'll make you leaner.
But yeah, that next tier, there's all your protein, most of your healthy fats, right? Your meat, dairy, eggs, most of the legumes, nuts. A lot of those, they're right there. That's where they sit. And then the next tier up is the things that you should eat in the smallest amounts. And keep in mind, I tend to hold most of these things should be near zero. So the stuff they put at the tip of the pyramid, if you understand basic healthy diets, you will understand that those things should be moderated or even be taken all the way down to zero. They can be taken to zero, and your health would be perfectly fine for it. These are things that are optional in your diet. They should be treated as.
No wonder why his arms are never growing. He just does the same weight, the same exercises. He's adapted, and he's adapted to his meals, and he's adapted to the weights. This is the typical lifting gym slave. Yes.
In moderation to zero. And that is refined sugars, refined oils, added fats like butter, alcohol. Okay? That's the stuff that goes on the tip of the pyramid.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when you'll see people who are kooky zealots and they say the food pyramid is wrong, you should flip it the other way. What they are saying, they're not talking about the third tier should be dominant, because that's usually what they mean. But when if you flip it over and were to invert everything, then they're saying that your diet should be comprised mostly of refined sugars, refined fats, and alcohol. So basically, you should be living on table sugar, butter, and whiskey, is what they are saying.
What? He's making this stuff up, man. I don't know what he's talking about.
They say the food pyramid should be flipped, should be reversed, because that's the tip. That's the stuff that's supposed to be moderated.
Yeah, it should be reversely faked. Okay, that's nice. Anything? Does Blaha ever give any real advice? Like, does it always have to be the slave advice?
And that is the stuff that we know.
That we've been conditioned to believe, yes, that you slaves have been conditioned, yes, Blaha.
The human race, anyone who's scientifically literate and can read data.
Yes, Blaha, yes, and you've been slave to these reports, yes.
We know the stuff on the tip is what makes people fat and sick.
It does, Blaha? You've been conditioned to believe that, eh?
Refined sugars, refined fats, and that includes butter. So all the keto people, you're
yes. Butter's so bad for you. It's made up from animal sources, butter, but it's so bad, man. Butter, because it's from animals. My God, animals are so bad for you. They're so, it's disgusting. Yes, Blaha. Yes, yes.
Promoting garbage.
I know. Yes, promoting garbage. Yes, plants are so good for you. The toxins, delicious toxins, and that sugar all day, drugs all day, bro. And that cellulose, crapping 3, 4 times a day in the toilet. Toilet paper, blowing farts, gas all day, probably adding to the ozone effect, the warming of the planet. Everybody's farting, eating these herbivore diets. They can't stop farting, and then they blame it on the animals. You're an animal. You're farting all day. We need to ban you.
Telling people to eat butter and alcohol.
Butter and alcohol. Well, butter is not made from plants, okay? But alcohol is, because all plants are drugs, and all drugs are made from plants, Blaha.
So the problem is, again, when people attack the food pyramid, they try to pretend that it's refined sugars down at the base. And if they tell you to flip it, it should be all reversed. And they're really actually telling you to do what they tell you shouldn't be doing and be eating tons of refined sugars, because that's the only way to flip the pyramid. That tip is the bad stuff, and we know that. I would go so far as to say everything in the tip should probably comprise less than 10% of your diet, and ideally closer to 0% of your diet. Right? We don't need butter, vegetable oils, refined sugars, or alcohol. These are not things that we need in our diet.
You definitely don't need those things in your diet. For sure, alcohol, yeah, and these refined whatever.
No, they have no health benefits to us.
Yeah, of course not.
Quite the opposite. So, again, when people blame the food pyramid, it's like, guys, potatoes aren't making people fat. Like, people aren't getting fat from eating.
People aren't getting fat from eating potatoes? I don't know. Are they? I mean, me personally, haven't really gotten fat eating potatoes, but if you're working out, then, it's all relative. You're loading this glycogen into the muscle. It's an energy source. So it's an energy source, really. That's the best energy source to be loaded. That's why it doesn't make you fat, because it loads in the muscle instead of becoming fat. Now, will it become triglyceride, a part of the fat cell? I don't know. That's debatable. It's possible, right? A lot of it loads in your muscle as glycogen, and then it loads in the fat cell as what? Triglyceride. Does it make up some of the triglyceride that's in there? I don't know. Possibly. Anything is possible. I don't know. It's hard to say. He says it doesn't make you fat. Does he have any proof? Does he have any proof that it doesn't contribute to triglyceride?
Potatoes and broccoli. So if you have a problem with the food pyramid, that's what you're saying.
Did he say potatoes and broccoli? Yeah, broccoli, does it make you fat? I don't know. It has sugar in it. The sugar content goes up when you boil it. The sugar content in vegetables goes up higher when you boil it. It's a known fact. You can bring it up in science. Look, they say it reduces oxalate. Not in its own juices, it doesn't. The oxalate's still there. They say it's been reduced. Yeah, it's okay. Let's say it's been reduced, but it's still there. So let me see, man. If you boil vegetables, the cooking affects the nutrient content of foods. I don't know if it does that. Vegetables raise blood sugar. Starchy vegetables are rich in carbohydrates, which can raise a person's blood sugar levels. Well, there you go. The American Diabetes Association recommends eating at least 3 to 4 servings of vegetables. Why do they recommend that? Why do they recommend a human who eats meat to eat that? On what basis do you need that? If you don't need that, why is it recommended that you eat that even though you don't need that? That makes no sense. Are boiled vegetables, man. Boiled carrots are high in fiber, so that helps slow down the quick they release of sugar. I don't know. Glycemic and well, they got sugar in them. It's all sugar, man. It tells you here, okay? This is crazy. Do carrots have more sugar when cooked? Let's see. They weigh chew soft. Cooked carrots will cause different flavors to be. The food scientists say chemically there are more sugars in a raw carrot than in a boiled carrot. That's not what I've heard. Which have leaked sweetness. I don't know. I heard the sugar content goes up when they boil it. Okay? I don't know. I'd have to look for it right now, and I don't have time to do that. It's baloney. It's all sugar anyways. It tells you there. They're all full of sugar. So Blaha is a liar. What's healthy about sugar? Nothing.
Have a problem with the food pyramid, that's what you're saying. And the truth is, even white rice has never been correlated with obesity. The popular
White rice is an energy source, again, glycogen. It has arsenic in it. So it's going to destroy your health, the arsenic, slowly over time, DNA damage, okay?
population level. Ever.
Yeah, we know. We already know that. We know rice, yes, starches. For every gram of glycogen, 3 grams of water, a drop between skin and muscle into the muscle. It's an energy source. That's what it's used for. That's where it goes. It goes into the muscles. Yeah. Now, if you're eating simple carbs, still most likely they can load into the liver, but also complex can load in the liver too.
So again, complete nonsense. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today.
I've never said that rice is going to make you fat or potatoes. I told people if you need to use a carb source, use a complex carb. If you want to have a sparing effect, you have to be careful of loading too much glycogen in your muscle, though. That's the problem. Yeah, it could spare some of the protein because it's an energy source. It can spare it for building muscles, possibly. It doesn't spike insulin, and it absorbs really slow, but it's going to be absorbed in the muscle. So, like I said, some people they want to run off that energy source, but I personally think you should run off of animal fat. Yeah, you're going to feel a lot better. Your mitochondria, you are going to feel better if you run your energy off the mitochondria run off animal fat as opposed to these artificial complex drugs, these carbohydrate drugs, okay? These plant drugs.
Hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.
Yes, eating drugs is very bad for you. Just say no. Okay, I'll see you in the next one, man. Tell what you think about that. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Helps with the algorithm. See you in the next video. Ciao, friends.